Welcome to What Lights Up Your Soul. We talk about real life stories, practical tools, and honest conversations about what it takes to get out of your own way, take bold action, and build a life you truly love. Welcome to an episode of What Lights Up Your Soul. I am so thrilled that we have Dr. Susie Mierzwik here to join us. She is an author and a speaker, and I'm actually going to let her introduce herself because there are so many beautiful things about her. Hi, Susie.
Hi, Sharon. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I really appreciate your invitation. This is what I say. I am an author, speaker, and entrepreneur. I have authored my own best-selling book, which is called Sow in Tears, Reap in Joy, A Transformational Journey. And I speak on that. And the topic I have chosen is the 3 IOUs of survival when your lifeboat hits the rapids.
Beautiful. Let's start with your book. I love to hear your 3 takeaways from your book. And that is so needed nowadays. I know that, even with my clients right now, we're doing something called standing firm when your world is shaking, which sounds very similar to your book. So if you can share some points about that, I'd love to hear about that.
Yes. And as you know, Sharon, life is a long and winding road. And we've all been kicked out of our lifeboat many times. I was actually kicked out of a Zodiac boat on the Santa Fe River several years ago. And the guide had to physically haul me up by my life preserver and get me back in my boat. So why I use that analogy when I'm speaking is we think we're on a path, like you got out of college or you got out of school and, straight ahead, right? And no bumps or disruptions. However, life has its own way of introducing challenges. And so when we find ourselves in any of those challenges, which can be career challenges, divorce, death of a family member, betrayal by family members, financial upset, bankruptcy, loss of a home. I mean, the ideas of what can go wrong are never ending. And they change from one person to another. However, the strategies that we can use to rebuild when our lifeboat hits the rapids are very similar. Doesn't matter what it is. And those are look in. So first we have to assess, where am I? What are my strengths? Where am I in the landscape? It's just like when there's a fire or flood. The emergency team comes in and says, okay, what do we need? Water, electricity, trucks, whatever they need. So we need to assess ourselves. Do I need a new job? What are my skills? Did I lose my home? Did I lose my family? Where am I going to live? So kind of like a survival assessment. And that can go in many different directions. Often journaling is a very, very beneficial aspect of that, because when you look in, you can put down, well, these are the things that I still have standing. Do I have a job? No, or I'm looking for a new job. Do I have a place to live? Yes, okay, or no, where else can I go? And so forth. So journaling helps with that. So you always have to start within. Number 2, you have to have outside support. Just like John Donne said, no man is an island and we can't survive on our own. So we've been bucked out of our lifeboat or we've gone over the rapids. Now we have to see who's there. Where's the Coast Guard? Where's the life raft? Is anybody out there to help me? Okay. So whether it's a therapist, a counselor, a support group, also reading or going online and finding additional resources. Because, for instance, when I was divorced at the age of 40, my lifeboat hit the bottom and I had to learn all the strategies that I wish I had known for the first 24 years about narcissists and boundaries and resilience and crazy people and all this stuff. But also, I had to remember that I still was grateful for the things that were positive. So I would write in my journal so that it was balanced out. And then, of course, I sought therapy, had a support group, Bible study, as well as reading, being in a network, and so forth. So there's many strategies for looking out. And we don't want to rely on, sitting at the bar stool, talking about, oh, my life really sucks, or I wish, I didn't have to go through this, because that doesn't serve us. So that's why I say we look out for reliable sources, and our family is often not that source, as it was in my case. And then the third key is looking up, because no matter where we are in our journey, doesn't matter if our lifeboat has a hole in it, we sunk to the bottom of the river, God has a plan for us. So using our spiritual guidance, I knew in my life, whenever my lifeboat hit the rapids, God had a plan for me. And if he didn't want me to go one way, he was going to direct me in another way. And in my book, I talk about several of those junctures where I fell out of my lifeboat, so to speak, and I had to look directly at God to help me get to the next island, so to speak.
Yes, and those are really incredible tools. And what I really like is with those tools, and yes, it is really, it's very introspective, as well as I like the fact that you're saying that then the third one, which I think is also very, very important, is connecting to God, because we are connected to God. And
Yes.
with that journey together, we actually become a very different person through the times when we fall out of the boat, and then we learn,
Right.
kind of like what you're saying. You wish you had learned some of those things at your younger years, just like I wish I had learned many of those. I wish I had my knowledge now that I would have been in my 20s. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? I mean,
Yes.
I love who I am now, because everything I went through, just like you, it makes us who we are today, and we're amazing, and people who want to share this journey and share that gift with others. So I just love how you connected all three of that in your book. So that's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes. Now, you mentioned your patches. Now, I have actually used X39 as well in the past. And what I know what's really beautiful, and we can kind of tie it in, and it's kind of all the same thing, because it's all energy. It's all frequency, and frequency and energy, has like a vibration to it, which
Yes.
is a little bit, same thing. So this is where we actually connect science. And I know some people will call it woo woo, but I think it's science and spirituality really do connect in the energies. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Certainly. And you're right. For some people, it does sound like woo woo, because you're not pouring anything into the body in a cup of cough syrup or a drop or an injection. It's just a frequency. And everybody knows about frequencies nowadays because our phone is based on frequencies. If we're in NASA, we can sit at our computer and set the rocket ship to the moon. We turn on our television with a clicker. That's a light frequency. We open our garage door with a clicker. It's a frequency. Laser beams the doctor operates on your eye. It looks like a pen, but it's a laser beam. It's a frequency. And we have our own infrared energy in us, as you know. And since we are energetic beings with infrared energy, instead of putting our finger in the light socket, we just have to put this patch on, and this connects our infrared energy, sends a signal to the brain and says, create new stem cells, create glutathione to detoxify, create melatonin to get good natural sleep, and so forth.
I remember, and when I was using the X39, I know many people were saying, wow, is that medicinal? And it really isn't. It really is using your own body. It's being stimulated almost like a catalyst for your body to heal itself. So that's really beautiful about that. And I like how you said everything is frequency, and tying back the frequency and the energy from and this is like the actual physical healing that you're talking about with the X39. Everything is energy, as well as in our emotions. Just like, and I'm going to tie it back to your book, just like everything in our emotions. So when we are feeling sad or angry or resentful, those are such low vibrating frequencies. And it's actually very almost like dense and compartmentalized. And sometimes that can actually lead to physical ailments within ourselves. Thus, it's almost like a full circle. Now we're back to frequency.
Exactly. And you know what? Even if people sometimes think this is woo-woo, I think everybody would agree that when a certain person enters the room, they can brighten it up or they can bring it down. It's kind of like Eeyore. There's energy that's kind of like Eeyore, and there's energy that's like Tigger. And our bodies are like that too. So if we have a tragedy or, a disappointment, or something brings our energy down low, well, we have to sit with that for a little while. We do have to deal with it. We can't try to push the feelings underground, but we also have to do something to bring our frequency up. And there's many things we can do. We can pray, we can meditate, we can spend time in nature, we can take a bath or a spa. All of these things, even flowers, scents, essential oils, all of these things have frequencies that can raise us up or sink us down. And you can go to a place where the music just carries you away and you feel like you're floating on a cloud. Or you can listen to some really dark music and it just makes you want to shrink up and disappear. Okay. And that's why when you use a technology like LifeWave with the phototherapy, if you have a positive mindset, then your frequency is also brought up, because many studies have been done that people heal more frequently when they're being prayed for, when they are praying, when they are meditating, when they are watching funny movies. All of these things that bring your frequency up help the body to heal.
Yes. And then just to add to what you're saying is when you are either in that low frequency, and if you, as my mentor says, and I actually aspire to this, it's like, we don't want to pitch a tent there, because
Yes.
when you pitch a tent there, it's kind of like a spiral down, and that frequency in itself, it just gets bigger and bigger and more ingrained and more, I don't know, almost like rooted into your cells. So you really want to not pitch a tent there, get out of that frequency, maybe do the different things that you're talking about to get you higher so that you can then focus on getting yourself out of that. And then you can start growing and living again.
Exactly. So. And one other thing that I would suggest to the listeners is that if you have somebody in your life that carries a low frequency, in my family, my birth family, it was a very low frequency group. My mother was a narcissist and she raised several narcissists who had very destructive parts in my life. I had to actually cut myself off from that energy because it was so destructive. I had to write a letter to one of the people that's surviving in my family and say, you know what, I'd like to keep up a relationship with you, but I can only do it if we're going to be on a positive level. I can't go down into that depth anymore. And that itself takes a lot of courage, but it's healing to your body because you're not being dragged down into the pit.
Yes. And I think you and I had that conversation at one of our dinners where I too had to basically give a loving letter because it was no longer, I don't want to say serving me, not that it was serving me, but it was a energy that was just so constrictive, almost oppressive, that it just kept going down. And one of the things that was beautiful about that work with the letter is that when we actually cut out, kind of like what you say, when you cut out that negative energy, it actually frees up your own energy for more abundance and more goodness to come in, because you're not so focused on entertaining or maintaining or placating, anything like that. So, and now you're focused on what really is kind of like my podcast, what lights up your soul, what brings you life. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And we want to maintain ourselves as much as we can in that high frequency, because let's face it, life is short and we don't want to live or pitch our tent in the lowlands. We want to climb up to the mountains. And our books, your coaching and so forth, these are all vehicles to get us up to the higher plane from where life might have thrown us.
Right. And I like to say, work you do, work I do. We're basically like Southwest, where we assist our clients to go to like Disney World. Your destination is Disney World or your life that you would love to live, but we're the vehicle and we're your structure support to get you there. Because many of us, we think we can do things on our own, but we really can't. it's very easy to fall back. That's why you need someone on your corner, which is why I like what you said. You almost have to be surrounded by the people who are in the same frequency, the same energy, so that will lift you up. So, yeah.
Yeah. And they can be of all different interests, ages, careers or whatever. But if they're on that high frequency of loving life, serving others, seeing what they can give, it doesn't matter what their background is, because you're all up here floating on this high level.
Right. And everybody's lifting each other up and continuing to grow. So everybody's helping each other grow. So, hello, friends. Quick question. Are you ready to stop living day by day, doing the same old thing, hating Mondays and looking forward to Fridays? Aren't you tired of this? Wouldn't you love not knowing what day of the week it is because you're living every day with so much joy in your career and relationships? Then it's time to step into your next level with Dream Builder Essentials with Sharon Vidano. This isn't just another course. It's a transformational journey. Here you'll learn to harness the power of intention, imagination, and the universal laws. You've heard of the law of attraction, right? Well, they are always working for you. You just need the awareness to apply them. In just a few weeks, you'll learn how to identify what you truly want, not just what's reasonable or what you think you can have. You'll also learn how to rewrite the limiting stories that keep you stuck and activate your vision with tools that actually work. You'll move from wishing to creating this life that you love, all because we know that everything is created twice, first in thought, then in form. So if you're ready to build a life you absolutely love, visit lifecoachsharon.com and enroll today. Your dream is waiting. Let's build it together. Beautiful, beautiful. I love all the tools that you've given. If there is, if any of my listeners would love to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, there's two ways. One way is my website, which is easy. If you could print it, that would help because of the spelling. So it's https://SusieMierzwik.com, which you can see on my banner. https://SusieMierzwik.com. And on my website, there are many podcasts that I've been on. There is a tab where they can search for LifeWave and find out about the phototherapy. There's also opportunities to purchase many of the books that I've been in. And there's testimonials from clients. So there's blogs, there's just a whole host of things so people can learn about me. And then they can also book an appointment if they would like to connect. And then they can also connect through LinkedIn, which is Susie Mierzwik, at LinkedIn. That's another way that they can reach me.
Okay, beautiful. And I'm sure if you can email all that to me, then I'll go ahead and make sure that's in the description. Okay, so good. All the listeners can just go ahead and click on those links. So
right.
It was beautiful having you here. What a fun conversation and learning more about you. And I would love to have you back again sometime.
Oh, I would love to come back anytime, Sharon. I really appreciate the invitation. And I hope you have a fantastic day and hope to connect with some of your listeners.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And you too. You have an amazing day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for coming to What Lights Up Your Soul. I hope you had an amazing time and I hope this episode served you. My intention is to help you live a life you love. If you love this show, please like, subscribe, and tell your friends, or go to my site at lifecoachsharon.com for more information, and I'll see you in the next episode.